With 8 GB of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, a 48 megapixel quad camera setup at the back and a 16 megapixel selfie shooter on the front, a 4310 mAh battery with a 30 watt of fast charging support and a 6.48 inches Full HD Plus resolution Super AMOLED display on the front. This is Oppo's F19 Pro and let's review it. Let's move on to the build and design of Oppo's F19 Pro. It carries the genes of F17 Pro and it weighs only 172 grams and with the 7.8mm of thickness. The body of the phone is made up of plastic material, but it feels pretty solid and it has a matte finish at the back which looks stunning, especially the fantastic purple color that we have looks really promising. At the front you are getting a 6.48 inches screen that also houses an in-display fingerprint scanner that works pretty great. And there is also a punch hole cutout at the top left corner of the phone that houses a 16 megapixel selfie shooter there. Overall the bezels on the left, right and top are comparatively a lot thinner than the bezel on the bottom, but I did not find the bezel on the bottom to be distracting. The right side of the phone is housing a power button which works well and it is easily approachable and convenient to use, and on the left side of the phone you are getting the volume rockers along with the SIM tray slot, and as far as the volume rockers are concerned they are approachable easily even if you are operating the smartphone single-handed. And as far as the SIM tray is concerned, you are getting a dedicated micro SD card along with the dual SIM slot. At the top of the phone you'll find the microphone, there's nothing else, but at the bottom you are going to find the speaker grill along with a USB Type-C connector and a microphone along with 3.5mm headphone jack. As far as the back of the phone is concerned, you are getting a matte finish there and this fantastic purple color looks really promising and it's kind of dope color. It's a mixture of a shiny and a matte finish, but it does have a problem of fingerprint smudges, so you'll need to use the clear TPU case that's provided into the box or you may get a secondary one from the market. The curved back of the smartphone makes it easier to hold in the hand and it sits quite comfortably. And at the top left corner of the back, you are getting a pump that carries the camera's placement. Even though this phone is made up of plastic, yet it feels like a solid aluminium build. As far as the design of the device is concerned, I am totally okay with it and I did not find any problem in terms of the design in the Oppo's F19 Pro. Speaking about the display, the 6.48 inches Super AMOLED panel on the front has a resolution of 1080 to 2400 pixels, and as far as the viewing angles are concerned, they are pretty great. You won't find any problem while you're enjoying the media on this smartphone. It lacks the support of high refresh rate, which is kind of common these days, and the users do get a fluid user experience on their smartphone, especially with the animations, but that's missing here. Because of an AMOLED panel, you do get a vibrant screen with impressive colors. And additionally, the support of Widevine L1 allows us to watch HDR enabled content on YouTube as well as on Netflix, and I'm consuming that a lot. I'm trying to overcome that, but for the time being I'm consuming a lot of content on Netflix, and I do hope that the stereo speaker setup would have improved the user experience, especially the media consuming experience of the Oppo's F19 Pro a lot. And now as far as the performance of the phone is concerned, this phone is carrying 8 GB of RAM with 128 GB of internal storage and out of that 105 gigs is only usable. As far as the chipset is concerned, this phone is carrying MediaTek's Helio P95 chipset, which is an year-old chipset, and competing the smartphone against other smartphones that are available in the same price bracket puts this device into the middle of that list because there are better alternatives available. There are smartphones that carries Dimensity 800U and Snapdragon 732G in the same price bracket. As far as the benchmark scores are concerned, this phone has managed to score 399 single-core scores on Geekbench 5 and 1622 multi-core scores. As far as the Antutu benchmarks are concerned, it has scored less than 200,000 scores, which is not great. It's good for the day-to-day usage, but for the power and performance hogs out there, F19 Pro really lacks a good chipset. It's not made for gaming lovers, but still you can play Call of Duty and PUBG-like game on high graphic and high frame rate at 30 frames per second. For the casual gamers, this device can work pretty well and you can play a round of PUBG and Call of Duty both on high settings. It will get heat up to a point that's bearable. Overall, in terms of performance, the F19 Pro's performance is quite similar to what we've been getting on F17 Pro. As far as the software experience of the device is concerned, this phone is running ColorOS 11.0 at the top of Android 11.0, and this is Oppo's custom skin and it has been improved. Compared to the last generation of the ColorOS 11.0 has been improved a lot and it does not carry the bloatwares. A lot of major issues have been already fixed and there are some that are being fixed. Overall, I am happy that they are working and listening to their users and they are fixing their software and improving it. The stock Android apps has replaced File Manager, Dialer, Messages and some other apps in the phone, and these stock Android apps are really impressive because these consumes less resources while providing efficiency. And during my testing of this smartphone, I did not find any lag popping up from here or there. Also, you will not notice a lot of bloatwares. The fewer ones, maybe a one or two that are available, could be uninstalled with just one tap. You're getting dual band Wi-Fi on this device and all the sensors, almost all, and it sports the dual 4G SIMs. That's a great addition, and also an in-display fingerprint scanner. As far as the user interface of the device is concerned, it has been improved a lot and I don't think that you'll face any trouble while using the smartphone. And for unlocking, you can use an on-display fingerprint scanner which works surprisingly well, or you can opt for the face unlock, which is less secure. It's time for the quad camera setup at the back, and the primary sensor is a 48 megapixel sensor with f1.7 aperture. Then there's this 8 megapixel wide lens, and then there are 2 megapixel macro lens and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And do not forget the 16 megapixel selfie shooter on the front. Overall, it has a decent camera, but definitely not a camera for the photo enthusiast users because the colors are not accurate. But if you want to capture good looking photos that stands out on social media, this phone got you covered. The primary sensor provides good quality photos. However, I've found the ultra wide lens to provide soft images with grains even in daylight. The selfie camera of the phone works pretty great, but then again, we're missing the natural skin tone. And the night mode algorithm of the app does not work pretty well because I did not find major improvement comparatively in standard and a night mode photo. This phone can record up to 4K, 1080 or 720 from the back camera or 1080 and 720 from the front camera, and both of these cameras sports the AI video mode that allows you to capture dynamic bokeh, the neon portrait or the AI color portraits. The portrait video feature is really fun, and I have also used the dual view feature that really came handy in recording quick hacks for social media. Okay, so here's a camera sample of Oppo's F19 Pro's front cam, and I've tried to block all the sources of light that are entering this particular room, so you can judge its quality on your own. I think it's reasonably okay. As far as the battery life of the Oppo's F19 Pro is concerned, this phone is carrying 4310 mAh battery. I've cleared it from Oppo. There are some apps that are showing 4000 mAh battery, but this phone does carry a 4310 mAh battery, that's for sure. And I've managed to test that 30-watt charger, and it manages to charge this device from 0 to 100% in only 59 minutes, and that's a great charging speed out there for a 30-watt charger. Overall, this phone can easily last a day, maybe a day and a half, if you are not an excessive smartphone user. And as far as the battery consumption when you are playing the game is concerned, I tested it on PUBG and the battery gets 6% drainage after a 20 to 25 minutes of PUBG's match. And considering that in perspective, this phone can last up to 5 or 6 hours in consecutive gameplays, and that's a great gameplay battery backup that this phone offers. Overall, I did not find any problem in terms of the battery life or the charging on the Oppo's F19 Pro. It's great. It's time for the verdict, and Oppo's F19 Pro is a successor of Oppo's F17 Pro, and it is a good looking device with a sleek design and a long lasting battery and reasonable camera setup. But as far as the performance of the device is concerned, I think that could have been improved. It's good for the casual users out there, but if you're a power intensive user that's looking to buy a device only for the gaming or maybe power intensive loads, then you should look for another alternatives. But if you are a casual smartphone user looking to buy a device that stands out and has a great design with long lasting battery and reasonable performance, then you can opt for the Oppo's F19 Pro. So that's pretty much it about the review of Oppo's F19 Pro. I do really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you really did, a sub to the channel would be incredible. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.